What up, players? I was almost done with the whole vlog, and then I ran out of storage. I've been having a heck of a morning already, so I have to redo this. Got a fire going. I was talking through the whole thing, and I ran out of storage. I guess I could have moved it over to my phone. It's just been a morning, yo. My phone died halfway through the other one. I can't feel if it's charging now or not. Let's just hope it's charging. I'm just gonna hope that it's charging. The way my morning's going, it's probably not. Anyways, so it's that time of year again. I'm starting fires. Lately, the last week or so, it would get down into like the 30s or 40s at night, but then it would be, like 60 during the day. So it wasn't so bad. Every couple of days, I'd start a fire just to kind of take the edge off. Usually like in the morning. I woke up this morning and I was like, man, it's cold. And I slept in, man. I don't even think I was up very late, but I do that where my body only sleeps like 5 or 6 hours, but then once a month or so, my body just like sleeps for like 10. I don't know. So anyways, I was talking about so much in the vlog. I want to like cover everything, but sum it up faster because I ran out of storage. I think I have enough wood for the winter. I got a bunch from an Amish sawmill. They have these cutoffs. So they put, a tree through the saw and they cut it into boards and stuff. And then there's like remnants, the tops and the sides and the bottom where they cut it, it's straight on the bottom, but then it's rounded, right? And then, they might have a board that's, I don't know. Maybe they're making 8-foot boards and out of this piece, but they're like 8 foot 3 3/8 or something, right? So they cut off those extra bits on the ends too, so you have a better cut on the ends. Something like that. Don't completely quote me on it. I've never worked at a sawmill. I kind of just understand the concept. Anyways, all these cutoffs is what they call them, remnants or whatever, they put in a giant pile, and then you can go there and you can fill up any size truck for $20. So I got my friend who has a pickup truck, my dad who has a bigger pickup truck, and I have a 5x8 trailer but that I hooked up to my dad's truck, and we went and got like a whole load. So I gave him $60, and I think it's enough for the winter. It's a little different. My phone's charging, so I can't show you right now. Dang it, I don't want to die again. But they're basically these perfect, like 6x6 squares or 4x6 rectangles or like 4x4 squares. Bunch of pieces like that, and they're like anywhere from, like 6 inches all the way up to some are like 20. I tried to get all the longer pieces I could. That's what I got in the wood burner right now. You can stack them perfectly like Legos. Like if I show you the wall, actually I got so tired of it, took so much longer to stack it. I got tired of it and I'll show you in another vlog when my battery's good, but I'm hoping it's almost as much as I usually stack out there for the winter that has been good for the last few winters. All the winters we've been here. But it's also stacked much tighter because you can fit them perfectly up against each other, if that makes sense, because they're like blocks instead of just like, splintered pieces of split log, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping it's actually more than enough. I do have a little bit that I cut over the summer that from trees that fell and things like that. We had a giant cherry tree at the tree line of our property that it was dying, and my friend helped me cut it down. It was like, it had to have been like 200 years old. It was so big, couldn't even stick my arms around it. But it's right at the tree line where the hill starts really being steep on my property, and we cut it down. We had to drop it into the woods. We couldn't drop it this way because it was so big, like into the yard, so I could just cut it up in the yard. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll cut it up into sections there and make it manageable, and then I'll wheelbarrow them up, because I don't have a tractor anymore, into the yard, and then my friend has a log splitter, and I'll split them there. Well, when we dropped the tree, I couldn't even get, it would take like 2.5 of me, like holding hands to completely wrap our body around the tree. Most of the inside was completely rotten out. So there is a lot of usable wood there, but it's a big tree. It's going to be a lot of work to get it up. But I got all the wood from the sawmill, $60. If that lasts for the winter and I heat my house for $60 this winter in Western Pennsylvania, that's great. But I do have some other like smaller branches and stuff that broke off. A tree fell in my neighbor's yard. I cut it up. He gave it to me. There's not much. So I have that. It's probably not ready, but then I have another tree in the corner of my yard. It's starting to die. My friend's going to come and cut the branches off because they're hanging over, the dead ones are hanging over my shed. But that's probably going to have to come down in the spring. And there's some other, I have this giant branch that my neighbor asked me to cut off his tree in his front yard that I can cut up. I don't know what kind of wood it is, but if it burns, I'm burning it to heat the house. There's some other trees back there on my property that need to be cut up. So, worst case scenario, I was planning on doing those in the spring. I can cut those up and use that if I need to. But I should be good. Musically, you guys probably know I dropped my original album under Punk Cover Moose. Make it make sense. That went really well. I'm going to be on a podcast, I think in January. We got to iron out the details. The bass player Chris from Punchline, he has a podcast called One Hit Thunder. They talk about one-hit wonders, and he's having me on. I was hanging out with his, did I say his band name is Punchline? They're, at least to me, like local heroes, Pittsburgh hero band. I mean, they've been pretty successful with their careers in Punchline. But I don't think they got as much recognition as they should have gotten. They were on their first, I think it was their first label. It was called Fueled by Ramen. At the same time with Fall Out Boy, they were on the same album. They're like friends and stuff, right? So they did a lot of really cool. There's actually videos of Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy covering Heart Transplant on a tour. I think he's covered it several times. So anyways, they've done some really cool stuff. So anyways, I was hanging out with their singer, Steve, and we were just talking. It was a week after I'd released my album, and we were just talking and kicking a ball around with his kid and stuff, just hanging out, you know. And he was like, dude, you should hit up Chris and be on the podcast. I was like, I never thought to even ask, because I was like, I'll never be able to get on that. But he's like, yeah, you should definitely ask, you know. And I was like, oh, he'll probably put in a good word for me. So I asked Chris, and then a few weeks later he hit me up and he was like, yeah, man, we'd love to have you. So we're going to talk about here's what's funny. So we're going to talk about I guess I thought it was a one-hit wonder here in the States, but it was more of a one-hit wonder in the rest of the world. It did get quite a bit of radio play here, and it was actually, the song was the music for the first iPod commercial when it came out. The first iPod came out in 2001, I think. The band is called Stereogram. It's spelled Stereogram, Stereogram. And the song is called Walkie Talkie Man. So if you listen to my new album, I have a song called Trying to Chill, in parentheses, Walkie Talkie Man, because When I was writing the song, I came up with it. And when I started to, usually what I do when I start playing something on guitar, and I'll have a melody in my head, like what the vocals are gonna like sing, like note wise, like right, but I won't always have words right away, right? But I'll usually record that so I remember the melody so I don't forget it. And when I was recording the chorus, I kept saying like walkie-talkie man and the walkie-talkie man, right? Because the song was about running from the cops, and I was like, I got to change that because I'm a big Stereogram fan, and their song, the one I'm actually going to be talking about on the podcast, is called Walkie-Talkie Man. So as the song progressed, I was like, man, this line just fits in here so well, and I know people are going to call it this song. Which everybody that has messaged me, like, dude, I love that song, Walkie Talkie Man. It's actually called Trying to Chill, and then in parentheses, Walkie Talkie Man. But I decided to just do it that way, just so it kind of made sense. And I also didn't want, I think this was a good idea. When you search Walkie Talkie Man, I'm assuming the Stereogram song will pop up. And I want to try and get my song to pop up too. So hopefully I named it right. But anyways, I'm going to be on that podcast doing that, promoting the album in January. But my plan, after I dropped the album, I was going to start doing covers. And I was going to do like a cover. I was going to shoot for like 1 or 2 a month, right? I was going to do a cover and then do a music video for one of my originals and kind of stagger them and promote them up until about November, now-ish. And as I was working on those covers and putting those out in my original music videos, I was going to start working on a new Christmas EP. But you guys probably know, I put out a Christmas EP last year. It was the last thing I put out before my injury. So I should go check on the fire. So that was the plan. I've had zero, dude, the album just burnt me out. I did 15 tracks entirely by myself. I didn't even do any collabs. So I was just burnt out creatively. I couldn't do anything. Like, just nothing was coming to me. I think a few weeks ago, I had an idea for another original, and I'm like, this isn't helping me. This, at least as far as my plan, right? But I'm like, don't. This is what killed me before, I think. Not killed me in the literal sense, but burnt me out because I would do this with Punk Cover Moose. I'd do a bunch of covers, and then I'm like, okay, cool. I got to do more covers. I got to put out more covers to keep the channel going. But you guys know, and you guys probably seen this before, and I think even some of you have told me this, but I just assumed I always just had to do covers. I wish I wouldn't have named my channel Punk Cover Moose. I would have just named it, I don't know, Moose or something. And just not had the word cover in there because, I mean, you guys know, especially, like, there's a lot of people that have been following me and what I do since, like, high school, you know? So I've done covers, I've done originals. I just do a lot of different creative things. I just like making things to begin with. Like, you know, recording and doing a cover or even an original is one thing, but then the whole other side to doing this in this sector of the, like, entertainment industry, like the music entertainment industry side to the entertainment industry. What am I saying? Is like music videos, right? And I do those by myself too. So that always kind of helped me kind of stagger my creativity to not keep doing the same thing over and over again. Even doing those two things, what I'm saying is it would get stagnant in my head. And I'm just like, man, I want to write an original. But I would tell myself in my head, no, you can't do originals. You got to keep doing covers, right? Or whatever. So I've been trying to just if my brain wants to do something, if it's musically inspired, I'll just do it for the channel. And if it's something else, that's just something else, like vlog, right? And so far I think it's been working because in the past I would do that to myself, tell myself I cannot do that. I have to do more covers of oldies songs. And then I would just burn out. And then I'd be like, I would need a break, but then, I don't make off a musician's salary. and doing the side job to pay my bills, but it's like I just want to go to a batting cage or something, and I'm like, I don't have $40 or whatever sort of something to do, right? So then I would get a job, and then I'm like, this sucks. Like, not that I hate working. It's just like, I at one point I had tried to get like, because I'm like, oh, I can edit videos and all this other stuff. Like the last job I was at, I was doing, they didn't tell me it was a sales job. It was a whole mess. But anyways, I was working there, was paid pretty well, but oh my God, it sucked. And then the people I sat next to, it was an office job, like one of my first office jobs. I'm like, they were just very angry, annoying people. But they were getting their marketing department going, and word had got out at the company about my channel. So then the marketing manager was like, hey, I saw your stuff. Like, we need an in-house video guy. We can't put you on salary right now, but could you do it like in between? I'm like, as long as you tell my manager, because he's a jerk, that I'm going to be doing this, and I would much rather do this and move to this department. Anyways, it all kind of, the company is just a big wreck. They don't know what they're doing. So that's, why I quit. I think I explained it before, but so I couldn't even get a job doing that. It was always jobs just like I worked in restaurants for a long time, so it's like that stuff's easy, but it's like it's very stressful. Customers are jerks, and then I'd come home, or like, I was working at the hardware store. It's like I'm good with building things. I know a lot about materials and tools and stuff like that. But then, you get a rich homeowner that's trying to do something that you're not supposed to do or something. And I'm like, that's not how you're supposed to do it. And they're yelling at me and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? So then I'd quit, and I'd do music stuff again. And it was a constant cycle, is what I'm saying. So I've realized this, and I'm trying to do that. Just let my brain create what it wants to create and just do that. I'm trying to approach it differently, I guess. And so far, it's been working. Because every time I start to freak out, like during my injury, right? Like, I wasn't working at all. I still had some money saved up, but I'm like, this is going to go really quick, right? So I'm always trying to think ahead. I have a budget I keep every month on an Excel sheet. And I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm like, this isn't sustainable. It's not going to work. But I just took a different approach, and I'm like, I'm just going to make it work. I don't know how. It's like very free-spirited, and I don't usually think that way. But so far, it's been working. Once my hand healed up enough that I could start working again and doing things. Jobs have been slow, but they're starting to pick up now. It's just been working. So I'm just going to keep doing that. So anyways. My creativeness wasn't going as planned. So I didn't really have much of a marketing plan. I need to get better at that. But I didn't have much of a marketing plan for my original album. So the plan I did have that I mentioned, that wasn't working, because I'm like, I'd sit down to do a cover, and I'm like, I'm trying to force, a square through a circle hole. And I've done that before, and people have literally commented like, it sounds like you just forced this out. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then I'd be mad at myself, and I'm like, oh, dang it. So I'm not trying to do that again. I don't want to, the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing and expecting different results. So instead of doing that, I didn't have quite in my head what I was going to do. So I was doing a side job one day, and I'm listening to a podcast. It was like a music podcast, but they talk more about the business side of it. And it's this guy like my age and a guy who's probably more like a boomer. And they were saying, the older guy was saying, it's crazy to me. He was like, he's a audio engineer like me, right? Like he records bands and stuff and produces or something. But he was saying, it's crazy to me that bands, they'll put a ton of work into creating an album, and they'll come here and we'll do production and we'll do all this work, and they'll put out a great record or EP or whatever, and they put it out and immediately start writing new material again. And I'm like, wait a second, that's what I was going to do. Because when I started doing Punk Cover Moose in 2017, I was pumping out a lot of stuff. And then after 12, I don't know if you guys all of you guys know. So 2017, when I started doing this, I was just going to do one cover a month. I had most of them like demoed out. So I was like, every single month I'm going to put out a new cover along with a video. And then after 12 months, I'm going to release a record. It'll be my record. And it ended up being Oldies Volume 1. I didn't plan on doing physicals and all this stuff, but it blew up, right? And during that time, a lot of people kept telling me, like, you should be putting out more. You should put out more. You should start doing your demoing for your next stuff now, so there's no downtime in between. Because there was like a year or so until I started putting out covers again. I had to put them together. And working jobs and stuff in between. And that guy said that, and I was like, man, that's what I've been doing. And even I know people that are doing very well on YouTube and stuff like that as musicians, doing covers and whatnot. And they always told me the same thing. And I'm like, man, that's what I got to do. But my brain doesn't work that way because I don't want to do just covers. And then the guy said, even if you don't have a budget, to market, there's tons of resources out there. You can even just follow other bands, even other bands that you like, and just watch how they do it. Even if they are paying for a marketing team, if it's a big band like Blink-182 or something, you can just see what they're doing and you can replicate that and make, you don't have to copy it, word for word or video for video or whatever. You can make it your own. And I was like, man, yeah, that's true, which I sort of did, but I would sort of plan it out, but it just wasn't, it didn't all click yet until this dude said this. He's like, there's a whole creative side that to doing this, to promoting a record that the band kind of overlooks. And you can have a lot of fun, just as much, if not more, making content or whatever it is. Or, if you don't have a budget, no one knows who your band is. There are creative things you can do to get the attention of people on bigger podcasts and stuff like that to help you promote your record. You might not go viral or anything, but you can squeeze a lot more out of this album instead of just going immediately back into your bedroom and writing more songs and just putting out more stuff. Because if a lot of people hadn't heard about your first one, not many more are going to hear about your next one. I mean, that's totally fine. I talk about this all the time. I love just making things, right? I also like getting it out there. You know what I mean? It's cool getting that feedback. But I was like, man, yeah, there is a whole creative side to this. And then it started giving me a bunch of ideas, and I started bouncing those ideas off of ChatGPT. And I was like, because the plan was to release the album, and then all my profiles and stuff, like all my cover photos, like on YouTube and Facebook and stuff, like new original album out now, right? And the link in all the profiles and stuff direct you pretty much to my new original album. So my plan was, after the album is dropped, I'm going to release a cover and then do a music video for an original and then a cover and so on and so forth until November. And at some point, not long before, I'm going to start working on a new Christmas EP. So then around the middle or end of November again, I'm going to release another Christmas EP. But then I heard that podcast and I'm like, I already have a Christmas EP. I haven't, my creative cover brain hasn't been working well. Why don't I try and just promote this EP again? I see bands do that all the time. Every time, I mean, like every couple years, maybe they'll do another Christmas EP, right? But most bands that I listen to, they have one, maybe two Christmas albums. But every year, they'll promote it a little bit. The one that, even if they did it like 20 years ago. And I'm like, man, why don't I just do that? What do I have to lose, right? And that got my creative brain going more. So I've been making a lot of content and stuff for that. So that's, so if you guys been, you know, I know you guys follow me elsewhere. That's why you've been seeing a lot of Christmas stuff. I have this whole plan that I made that I'm going to promote the Christmas EP. It's kind of set up like I'm just like dropping a new EP, even though it came out last year, Christmas EP. But man, it's been so much fun, and I've been getting a lot of other ideas. I was actually writing an original song a couple weeks ago, a week or so ago, right around Halloween. That was like 2 weeks ago. Actually, I think the last time I worked on it was Halloween Day, 31st of October. So, yeah, I was just like, but so I mentioned that writing that song because I sort of beat myself up. I'm like, I can't do another original right now. I just dropped an original. I'm like, no, hold on, stop. Let your creative self be your creative self. Otherwise, the world will never hear this or see this, whatever your idea is, if you don't execute it now, right? And I think that's been working more. So once Christmas is over, I'm going to go back into promoting the EP, and hopefully, you know, January 1st or whatever, I'm in that creative space again, musically. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. I even had this idea. I was like, I should do a Christmas shirt, even though I just did shirts for my album. I did two, actually. This was one of them. My wife and I have been obsessed with pine trees. This was actually the album art from my EP, or my album. And I did this one, but I don't think anybody bought any of this one with the moose, which I liked. Thought that turned out pretty cool. But I was like, you know what? Instead of a shirt, as Punk Cover Moose, I've only done shirts. What if I do a sweater? I was in a band. We used to do really well selling crew necks in the winter, which are just, it's not like a hoodie. It's just kind of like, this is just like a long sleeve shirt. So it's like this, you know, but it's a sweater. It's a little thicker. I was, what if I do that? And I was on my account that I have that prints my shirts and stuff. And I'm just clicking around the different sweaters, and I saw they have a knitted sweater. I was like, what if I just do a Christmas sweater? You know how like ugly sweaters were a thing for a minute? I don't know if they still are. So anyways, I made one, a knitted Punk Cover Moose sweatshirt. The test print's coming in, so it's in the mail. So once I get it, if it's turned out the way I needed to, I'm going to do like a week flash sale, because it takes like 2 to 3 weeks to come in for them to make it and print it and stuff and get it out. So I'm going to do a flash sale within that week so people can have it for their Christmas parties and stuff, right? I'm a little nervous about it because they cost me, I think, almost $50 to print. So I'm probably going to have to sell it kind of high. I've never sold anything that high, for that high, but we're just going to try it out. But those are the kind of the creative things that have been coming to me since doing all this and approaching it this way. And actually, I had this idea. I am going to do some Christmas covers. It's a little different from what I normally do. I don't want to give it away quite yet. I did do a couple last year. They're not going to be on Spotify or anything. It's just mostly like fresh content, right? To kind of promote the Christmas EP and just to get my name out there a bit, right? So I'm hoping with doing all these Christmas type videos, like short form content, and then I'm going to do these like other Christmas covers. We'll just call them that for now, because I don't want to give it away quite yet. It'll kind of get my name out there a bit more. So then come January, when I start promoting the album again, people are like, oh, this was the Christmas guy. Let's check out his album. That's the goal. But that's all I've been up to. It is getting a little late though, and I've recorded this vlog twice already. This is the second time. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an update on what's going on. That's what's happening in my life. I do need to work on these things and drink my coffee and reshoot some content, unfortunately. But that's what I've been up to. I said this last time, I did 2 vlogs in a row and then I got busy again. I'm going to try and vlog. I don't know if it'll be daily again, but I'm going to try as much as I can to do it because it just helps me stay accountable. When I wake up and I'm like, oh, instead of just kind of procrastinating for a little bit, like, oh, I got to get the vlog done so I can work on the other things. It just kind of gets me going in the morning, right? So I'm going to try and do that. Look out for all the Christmas stuff coming out. And if you haven't checked out the Christmas EP or the original album, make sure you do that. Look out for the Christmas sweater. And if you haven't picked up an album t-shirt, look at that. So beautiful. I have 5 different colors too. This is it's called something gray. But see how it kind of has the gray and white kind of mixed in? And then that's the one design. I have this design on those same 5 colors as well. Extra small all the way up to, I believe, 4 or 5X. Funny thing, before I go, I did the t-shirts. Most of my income from Punk Cover Moose is from Patreon and my streaming royalties. Streaming royalties being my biggest income stream for Punk Cover Moose. They're 3 months, the royalty reportings are 3 months behind. So I dropped my album in September, at the end of September actually. So I'm not going to see those royalties until like February, basically. So I was like, I'm going to do some t-shirts to do that. And it took a week to like get into the feed with the shirts again and to like warm people up to like buying a shirt. And I started selling a bunch. I think I sold like 20. And I was like, awesome, this will make up for the cost. But then stupid me forgot to put in shipping or add in shipping. So I sold like 20 shirts, but I lost about 50 cents per shirt. So the shipping's in there now. So if you want to grab a shirt and help me make up that would be good. Other than that, hand's doing well. I still can't hold picks very well, but usually don't hold a pick like that anyways. But yeah, I'm just out here doing my thing, trying to stay warm, making fires. Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate you. Keep a lookout for all that stuff, and I will see you in the next one.